So Sunday, we got an indication as to how far Oklahoma fell in the AP ranks after their loss to Baylor. But today, I'm really interested to see what happens tonight. With the College Football Committee rankings coming out tonight, those are the rankings that ultimately matter. So I'm very interested where Oklahoma will end up. We need to talk about that. Plus, where do the Sooners go from here? Because even though you took an unfortunate loss to Baylor, you still have two quality opponents in front of you in Iowa State and Oklahoma State, and we need to talk about it. Before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from you. Hop down to the comments. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Given that the AP rank for the Oklahoma Sooners was 12, do you believe that the College Football Committee ranking will be similar? And let me know what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. I'm on my push to 10,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you along for the journey. And if you enjoy this content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions, though they are small, are really big to content creators such as myself in getting both picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But with all that being said, let's talk about this, because Sunday we got an idea of how far Oklahoma would fall. In the AP ranks, the Sooners end up at 12. But fast forward to today, and I'm really interested in where the committee will place the Sooners. Because unfortunately, the Sooners weren't in a favorable position with the College Football Playoff Committee, even though they had an undefeated record. Though the Sooners were 9-0 heading into Baylor, they hadn't played opponents that were ranked, and their first ranked game was actually against the Bears. The good news for the Sooners is you still have two quality opponents in front of you in Iowa State and especially Oklahoma State, whose ranking will be important, because if you can go out and show out, you're going to finish the season on a high note. But it is going to be really interesting to see where the committee places Oklahoma, and part of the reason I'm so interested is because of what I started this segment out saying, that the committee did not look at Oklahoma favorably even before this loss. That's why they were at number 8, so I'm really interested how far Oklahoma will fall to the committee. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Oklahoma is going to fall out the sky. I'm just curious, because now we see where the AP ranks Oklahoma, and for someone like myself who loves these comparing and contrasting things, even though they may not have the most salient of points, it is going to be very interesting. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the rank next to the Sooners' name isn't of the most importance. The remaining games are of far greater consequence than wherever the College Football Playoff Committee puts Oklahoma. Because at the end of the day, your playoff hopes are all but gone. There is still a path to the playoffs, though it is completely out of the Sooners' control. The Sooners, if they want to get to the playoffs, are going to have to hope for a few things. First and foremost, they need an outstanding showing against Iowa State and Oklahoma State. And I mean an outstanding showing. And then secondly, they'd have to hope that just about everybody within the top 10 catches another loss. That right there is going to be really a long shot, something that I don't anticipate happening, but that does not mean that the season is for nothing. With these two quality games ahead, there's still a ton to play for. First and foremost, why do you play the game? And the answer should be for pride. Secondly, Oklahoma still has a ton of recruits that they are battling for, and though I'm not contending that these games are going to make and break these battles, they certainly help. They certainly help when recruits can see, okay, well, even though Oklahoma took a loss to Baylor, they rebounded against Iowa State, they rebounded against Oklahoma State, and finished the year strong. That builds excitement, that gives them something to hold on to through the process. So the season is still very, very important to the Oklahoma Sooners, and you have big games coming up. Specifically, the two games you have left couldn't be any bigger, because Oklahoma's best three opponents they played were in succession at the very end of the schedule, which is why I thought it was so key that the Sooners had a bye before they hit those three games. Coming off of Baylor, you have Iowa State, who even though Iowa State has been up and down all year, Iowa State is still a team that has a lot of veteran guys on it that play good football, so you do have to watch out for them. They're well coached, they're experienced, and they've been able to show up at times this year. The entirety of the year, we haven't seen the Iowa State many people anticipated we would see. However, at times, they have showed up and played quality football. So it's just about not letting Iowa State control and dictate the game. Do not allow the opponent to make you play their brand of football. But then even after that, you have your rivalry game in bedlam. Oklahoma State versus the Sooners, which is why I also said at the beginning of this video, it's going to be really interesting to see where the committee places Oklahoma State. Because for Oklahoma State, the Sooners want nothing more for them to win this weekend in convincing fashion. That way they continue riding a high into that game, because that game is going to be of massive consequence to the Oklahoma Sooners. Whatever it means, it's a rivalry game and it's the last game of your regular season, and so it should be looked at with due respect. Right now, the Sooners are in a precarious position, and it's going to be one that deserves watching. How do you respond? When things don't go your way, how do you respond? Because that is how you can really tell what someone is made up of. It's not when everything is going right that we see true colors. It's when you face adversity. One of two things will happen. Either the adversity will force the best out of the Sooners, or the Sooners will continue on their same trajectory, which isn't bad, but it's not where you should be. It's not where you need to be, and it's not where you wanted to be in the preseason. Because the Sooners had the talent, they had the continuity, and now you're sitting here looking at an opportunity to really make a statement in these last two games. Whatever it means. It doesn't matter whether the college football playoffs are on the line. You play the game for pride. You play the game for the recruits that are watching, showing them there's a reason for you to be excited to come here. I'm really interested in hearing from y'all, not only in what you're expecting going forward against Iowa State and Oklahoma State, but where do you expect the Sooners to be tonight in the College Football Committee rankings? Let me know down below. That's it. See ya.